Hello everyone. We are going to discuss standard web controls available in ASP.NET. So these are the list of standard web controls which are available in ASP.NET. First one is button, second one is text box, third is label, fourth is hyperlink, next is filing upload, next is checkbox control, then radio button control, and last one is image control. Now we'll start with the first control, that is button control. Button control is used to create a button that sends a request to a web page. It posts the data to the server when it is clicked. A namespace hierarchy for the button control is system.object, then system.web.ui.control, then system.web.ui.webcontrols.webcontrol, and then system.web.ui.webcontrols.button. Now we'll discuss some properties available for the button controls. These properties are not cover all properties of button controls. We are putting over here journal used property of button controls. Among that, first is causes validation. It is used to obtain or set a value indicating whether or not validation is performed when button control is clicked. Next is command argument. It is used to obtain or set optional parameter passed to the command event along with the associated command name property. Next is command name. It is used to obtain or set the command name associated with the button control that is passed to the command event. Next is on client click. It is used to obtain or set the client side script that executes when a button controls is click event is raised. Next is postback URL. It is used to obtain or share the URL of the page to post when the button control is clicked. Next is text. It is obtain or set the text to be displayed on button control. This text property is working as caption for the button control. Next is use submit behavior. It is used to obtain or set value indicating whether the button control uses the client browser submit mechanism or ASP.NET pushback mechanism to submit the data to the server. Next is validation group. It is used to set or obtain the group of controls for which button control cause validation when it posts back to the server. Apart from these properties, few events is also available for button control. Among that, first is click event. It occurs when button control is clicked. Next is command event. It occurs when the button control is clicked. This event help you to create multiple button controls on a web page, and then it programmatically determine which button control has been clicked. It means this command event help us when we have a multiple button on our web page. In HTML, if you are going to use button, then you are using input tag, but ASP.NET standard controls will write like this. For example, ASP colon button id equals to button1 run at server. This property defines that this control is a web control and it will execute on server. Next is text that is equal to button. Now we'll see an example of button control, then we'll discuss next other controls. Now to understand the real-time example of button, we have to create Waveform application. For that you have to go to new project, then select a web from the categories, and then you have to add ASP.NET Waveform application. Give appropriate name to it, for example standard web controls. I'm saving it. It will take some time to create your web application. When we will create a new web application, Visual Studio give us a default ASPX page to us. Just close it. We'll add our own new waveform. To add our own new waveform, we have to just go to Solution Explorer. Just right click on the project name and go to add and go to new item. Then we have to select a waveform and give appropriate name to this waveform. For example, I'm going to do the example of button controls. I am giving button example. It will shows a waveform with some predefined tag over here. These tags are nothing but it is HTML tags. You can see HTML, head tag, body tag, form tag, and division tag. If we want to see a design portion of this, you have to click just design tab over here. It will gives a design view over here. If we want to go the code view, then you have to just click on source. Okay, so it gives a design view over here. Now if we want to write something over here, for example, this is the example for button control. So we'll write like this. You can just check the code over here. This is add this thing into our division tag. Okay, now if we want to add button into this, just we have to take the reference of toolbox is available like this. And now we have to go to the standard control. We have to go to the standard tab in which the common controls and standard controls are available, from which we just have to use button control by dragging it and drop it in our appropriate location. For example, I am dragging it and dropping it over here. Just go to the source. It will give us a code like this, which already we discussed in our presentation, that is ASP colon id equals to button1 run at server and text equals to button. Now we'll go to design. Now if we want to check the property, if a property of it, just click on F4 button or go to property window. This window give us a different property like this. Okay, so if we want to change the caption of this button, or if we want to change the text of this button, then we'll write like this: click on me, I will welcome you. Okay, just enter it. See, it will give a caption on it, that is click on me, I will welcome you. Now if we want to do something, that if we click this button and it is give some message on this waveform, then we will do like this. Just double click on this button to create the event of this. I'm just double clicking it. It take me to the .cs file of this ASPX waveform, and it is create a but buttons click event like this, that our button name is button1 and it creates event. That event is nothing but it is a click event. Now if we want to give some message on our web page, then we'll justly write like this: response dot write, and in this write method will like our message, for example, hello, welcome, hello, welcome to the world of ASP.NET. Now if we want to check how it is work, we'll just run it from here. It will give some running options over here. This option is nothing but we can choose a web browser which is available on our system. it will be like Google Chrome, it will be Firefox, it will be Internet Explorer. I'm selecting Google Chrome and just run it. It will take me to the Google Chrome, and it gives us example like this. Our output is like this. This is the example for button control. Click on me, I will welcome you. I just click this button, it will give a message on this waveform, that is hello, welcome to the world of ASP.NET. Now, now if we want to do some coding like that, when I click on this button, it will give a pop-up on this. Then how can we uh, code like this? Just do the code in the click event of the button. For this, we'll write response dot write. In this write method, we'll uh, write the script tag over here, which you are using in your HTML, like this script. I'm ending it also script. Okay, inside this script tag, we'll use alert method, which you already used in HTML for your pop-up window. So we are using alert. In this alert, we'll write a message we want to print on our alert window. For example, hello everyone. And we cannot use double quote over here, we can use single quote over here. And at the end of this alert method, we have to write semicolon over here. Okay, now the code is ready with us. Just we can check it by running it. If I click on this button, it will give us a pop-up with the message hello everyone, and then I just click on OK. It will take us on return to the our web page. That's it for button control example. Now we'll see the next control. Okay, our next control is text box control. Text box control is an input control which allows you to enter the text. If we want to give the style of this text box, we have to use the property, and this property is text mode property. The text mode property is by default value is single line. It means that we can input the text into a single line only. If we want to add text in multi-line, we have to change this property text mode property to multi-line. There will be another options also like password and so on. Namespace hierarchy for this text box control is system.object, system.web.ui.control, system.web.ui.webcontrols.webcontrols, and system.web.ui.webcontrols text box. Now we'll discuss some properties, some general properties of text box control. Among these, first is auto complete type. It is used to obtain or set a value that indicates the autocomplete behavior of the text box control. Next is auto postbacks. It is used to obtain or set a value that indicates whether or not an automatic postback to the server occurs when the text box control is lose focus. Next is column. It is used to obtain or set the display width of the text box in character. Next is max length. It is used to set or obtain the maximum number of character allowed in a text box. Next is read only. It is used to obtain or set a value indicating whether or not the content of the text box control can be changed. Next is rows. It is used to set or obtain the number of rows displayed in a multi-line text box. Next is text. It is used to set or obtain the text of the text box control. Next is text mode, which already we discussed. It is used to set or obtain the behavior mode. Behavior mode can be single line, multi-line, or password. Next is wrap. It is used to set or obtain a value indicating whether or not the text wraps within a multi-line text box or not. There is a single event we'll discuss of text box control, that is text change. It is occur when a user change the text of the text box control. Over here we can see a tag that define as a text box example. Uh, it will be like last control asp colon text box id equal to text box 1 run at server, and we can close this tag like this. Also it is similar like html. Over here we can say text property is not over here because it is an input control, and whatever user will input in this control will be captured by this text property. Now we'll discuss the example of text box control. To understand the example of text box control, we'll continue with our last project. Just go to Solution Explorer, just right click on project name and then add new item. We'll add new waveform for example of text box control. We'll give some appropriate name to it. For example, text box example. It will add a waveform. We'll go to design and we'll write something for it. For example, this is an example for text box control. Now, if we want to add text box control, we have to go to toolbox, and in toolbox text box control is available over here. We can just drag and drop at our appropriate location. For example, I am dragging and dropping it over here. Okay, we'll just click on it, and if we will press F4, it will take us to property window, or we can directly go to the property window like this. We can check the different property of it. Check over here, text property of it is empty because the input will be given by user and this input is captured by this text property. Okay, if we want to give the id of it, we can change id of it by, like this. For example, we can give some appropriate id to it. For example, txt single, because we are using it for single line text box. Okay, now if we want to add some multi-line text box, just drag and drop the text box control from toolbox. Okay, go to the property and find the property text mode. Check it. By default the text mode is single line. If we want to change it, we can change it to the multi-line. Check over here, we can have many options. For example, password, color, date and time, email, month, number. We can select it. We doesn't have to provide validation to it. It will directly take validation. For now we'll select multi-line from over here. Check, it will add a scroll to our control, text box control. Now it is allow us to enter multiple lines. Okay, now we'll take an example of password text box also. So we'll just drag and drop the text box from toolbox and go to the text mode property and select it to the password. Okay, it will take the input, but this input will not shown by the user. Instead of it, it will show some special character to us. Okay, apart from this, I also take a single text box, single line text box over here. Okay, and I'm taking a button on it. So I'm going to code like this. Before moving to the actual implementation, we'll give some name, some id to the controls. For example, as we already give the id to this control, that is txt single, we'll give id to this multi-line text box like this, txt multi. Okay, so we can easily identify it at the time of coding. txt password to this uh, text box control, and this text box control I will use for giving the output of password text box. So I will write like this, txt output. Okay, now my application will be like this. When I click on this button, some message will be appear over here, some message will be appear in this multi-line text box, and whatever I will entered into this password control, it will directly appear into this txt out text box. Okay, to do this, just create a click event of this button control, and to create this click event of this button control, just double click on it. It will take us to the event. Now I will code for this. For example, I want to give some message on our text box, which we are taking as a single line text box. Okay, to display some message on this text box, we have to use text property of it. So we'll write like this, txt single, it is nothing, it is a id of that text box. Then we'll write text, txt single dot text equals to I am single line text box. Okay, if we want to give message in multi-line text box, then we'll find the id of it, that is txt multi dot text, that equals to, will take some bigger message, so it will give us the effect of the multi-line text box. For example, I am multi-line text box. We are repeating this message for multiple times, so we can uh, easily track the effect of multi-line text box. After this, to display the inputted text in password text box, we are using output text box, and we are taking the id of it, that is txt output dot text equals to, over here we don't want to give some predefined text or predefined string, text entered into the password text box. So what, how can we do this? To do that, just find the id of that password wala text box, that is txt password dot txt, because whatever will be input into the text box, it is captured by this text property. So this text property we will give to the output text property, this text property we will give to the text property of output text box. That's it. Now we'll run and check the output. Okay, so it will gives output us like this. In this first text box, when we'll click on this button, some output will be there, same in this multi-line text box, but we have to enter some value in this text box, and this text box we are created as a password with text mode. So if we'll enter something, it will not display to it, it will display some special character instead of that actual character. For example, I am entering ASP.NET, so it will gives a dot dot dot, so user cannot see by it their own eye. Okay, now when I click on this button, this password character will be display over here. So I'm just clicking on this button, it will give output like this, I am single line text box, then I am multi-line text box, where multiple times print it. You can check by dragging dropping it. You can you can resize your multi-line text box like this. Okay, then we had entered well some value into this text box, and that, and this value is for now display in this text box. That's it for text box control example. That's all for this lecture. Other controls we will discuss in our next lecture. Thank you.